Sky video, part 1. Action! Alright, people. Now that we have the horizon established, I'm going to show you guys how to get this paint going. So, here's your palette. Well, it's my palette, but you get the idea. When you first start, on your first layer, so this is a base coat, that's what it's called. So a base coat for a sky, if you're doing a sky, for instance, or a sky, the colors you're going to want, and I'll let you guys do 3 whites. So watch this. There's 1 white, 2 whites. You can do 3 whites at first. All the other colors, though, only use 1 color of each other one. Now, if you want to do a blue sky, for instance, a light blue sky, the mistakes people make, generally speaking, is that they try to go too dark. So right now, for the sky, try to make your sky too light and too gray for sky, because that's going to be the lightest thing in your painting. You might be drawn to something that's kind of darker, and I'll show you how to make it kind of darker here eventually. All right, I have my palette, and now I got my paintbrush right here, and I have a little paper towel. I'll wad this up for some blending. I'll show you how to do that later. With this, I'll put it in water and then wring it out. I'm going to use this for blending. So if I unwadded, it's nice and fluffy. Little fluffy blending thing. So it's going to be kind of like put on makeup here eventually. Okay, so then when you hold on the brush, so right here, brushes are kind of interesting, the way they're built. And it's for a reason. So when you're first starting painting, you think of this as like holding a pencil. So you want to like hold it like this, and you want to paint like you're drawing. So if you're used to drawing more than painting, it'll tend to like rest your hand on your paper and draw. So you don't want to do that. So if you look at the brush, how it's built, skinny, wide, skinny. So this is actually where you hold the brush. So I would even draw a picture of it. Picture the brush and have your hand like right here. So it's kind of a nice weighted balance. So you want to do that. Okay, so then I'll show you what we do here. We don't mix up puddles of paint. So what I'll do is I'll take white, for instance, start with white, don't start with blue, and then on the bottom right here, I'm going to scrub. So with the painting technique that I'm going to show you guys, it's more of a scrubbing thing than it is painting. So I'm not actually taking the brush and hitting it like this. I'm definitely not doing big strokes like that, so don't do big strokes. It's like nice, soft, little scumbling brush strokes. And then I'll do a little dot of blue. Not much though, just a little tap of blue. And I'll put that in there. Then I'll blend that out. And the colors you're gonna use this is cerulean blue right here. So I got cerulean blue, little dot of it, and that's too saturated. And to desaturate is the dot of black. Tiny bit of black in there to desaturate. Then I'll take more white and I'll mix that right in there. And I'm scumbling it by going back and forth, small little strokes, itty bitty little strokes. And don't add water to your brush. So if you want to rinse it off, go into another color, you can. And the other key, there's a lot of stuff to learn right here. Luckily it's recorded. You have to change color about every 5 seconds. Oh, like watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change color. Otherwise, you'll end up with like patches of different colors. So I'm gonna go in here, a little more white, lighten it up a little bit more. And then I'll come all the way up here as well. So I'll skip around, and my scumbling pattern, which would go closer, but that's okay. Scumbling pattern, as I hold the brush back here, is sort of like a star pattern, and I can go up like this, or I can go across. But when you're painting skies, the tendency is to do what I would call the typewriter, which is like go all the way across, do another layer going all the way across. Don't do that. So kind of like skip around a little bit. Okay, so now I have that. I'm gonna add a little more black. Once again, just a dot of black. Put that in there, then I'll scrub this. Now it's kind of grayish black. And then I'll go a little more blue. Too dark once again. See this little patch here? layer blue, layer gray, and layer light gray. So you don't want these layers. So to get rid of that, I could add more white, gently scrub the paint into it, like this, and it'll come down. Nice and light, barely scrub the dub. And it's like, so I'm doing like a small section at a time. Don't coat the whole entire painting with like one color. I'll add more white down here, scrub that in. And if you want to clean the brush in between, like right now, I might want to clean the brush. Don't use water, just use a paper towel. And rinse it off like that with the paper towel, and then I'll scrub again with more white. That'll give me like a nice clean brush. All right. And then once you have quite a bit of paint down, so I have like a decent amount of paint, you want to change it from holding it like this to flip it around. So like here's flat, right? So I'm laying it down. I'm going to go from flat, barely pick up the brush here, and then holding it like this and lightly scrubbing it. I'm not picking the brush up. I'm just kind of lightly scrubbing. And then I'll speed this up a little bit. All right, but those are the techniques. Now this, I'm going a little bit faster, don't go this fast. And this brown is raw umber. So I'm gonna add a little raw umber in there to dull it out a little bit. And at first it might be going, that looks terrible. But it'll gray it out. It's not gonna be as saturated like a cartoon blue, which you don't want. So to dull it out, use a little bit of the raw umber, and then be a dot of black as well. That can work. I also have a little bit of magenta. And so all colors, not all, but a lot of them, you have like burnt umber, you have raw umber, you have raw sienna, and you have burnt sienna. So I write down burnt colors are warm, raw colors are cool. So with blue is a cool color. So to make it look like a good blend, all you have to do is add the raw umber in there, and it turns out pretty good. I'm gonna move the screen down, hold on one second. So I'm kind of gradually getting the blend in there. This is harder than it looks. I realize you guys are kind of like watching this, kind of like you're watching TV. And until you try it, then you go like, huh, maybe I should have paid a little more attention. Luckily though, we do have the video, will be posted. All right, so you can see how saturated this is? It looks like a cartoon or whatever. So I'll go back and a little bit of the raw umber in there. It'll still look blue, but it's not gonna be as saturated. And then maybe a dot of black up here in the corner. Get that a little bit darker. And then count to 5, change color. Maybe I'll add a little more white. And then I'm doing a little scumbling. So small strokes. I'll do like half this guy. And this is all a base coat. I would write down also that your first coat, your base coat, is going to be thicker, a little more thicker paint, and your next layer is going to be have a lot less paint. So now I'm going to come in here with this color. It's all a little different. And if you want to blend, like right here, if you see this little weird patch, which I don't like, so if you want it to be to change, if you hold the brush about where it's balancing, or it's just kind of teetering like this, then set it down, pick it up so it's barely holding onto it, almost parallel with the canvas, and then barely scrub it. And it's like really nice blends. And acrylic's nice because once it dries, it's waterproof. You go in the rain with it, you can hose it down, whatever you want to do. You can get silly. Now I got some saturated blue. I'll put that way up here. Something to go darker. I'll start with blue, and I'll change color. I'll do a little of the raw umber again. Scrub that in there, maybe a dot of black. All kind of dark on the top, then lighter on the bottom. Even if you want a dark sky, keep the dark part up here, and then down the bottom though, it's gotta go light. Because no matter what, if your sky's dark, your mountain has to be dark, or whatever you have. Your mountain or houses, they have to be darker than the sky. Like almost like a silhouette. So now I'm scrubbing that in there. And because I'm changing color all the time, it's kind of a nice blend. So you want to avoid patches. So I didn't even write that down. Avoid patches by changing color like every 5 seconds. Now I'll go a little more white. Put that in there and scrub. And this would take you a little while to do. So I'm going a little bit on the fast side. Now I'll come down here a little more white. Lighten it up still. And right here, that transition's like really abrupt. I'll use the side of the brush and slowly, so here's actual speed for you guys. When you guys paint, this is your speed. Nice and light. Barely moving it. Now I like that color, but I'm gonna change it. So I gotta change color about every 5 seconds. Just to avoid that quilt pattern kind of thing, which is terrible. Always rookie. And skies are kind of hard to paint, not gonna lie. So skies are more difficult in acrylic because of all the blending you have to do. And then I'm gonna clean off the brush. I'll show you another way to blend as well. Using a paper towel here in a second. All right, so now I'm getting all the white down here on the bottom. Should have gone even more white, so this isn't quite light enough. But I can fix that just like we did in the portrait assignment, how we fixed that with the skies or the clouds. So I could add cirrus clouds in there and then fix that. I'm not gonna show you clouds today though. This is definitely enough information for today, just the basic blends, like how to blend. Then right here, there's a big difference between that color and that value. I'll come in here with this, dry off the brush, then blend this out. And then if you guys could come over here in the class, 6 feet away or whatever, it's easier to see here than on your screen. You might want to come over here and take a look at this. So now I'm gonna come in here with this little action. All nice and blended. I'll go white on the bottom and scrub that out. Yeah, come over here. All right, so then I got all this going. So you can see the value changes and the colors. Then you get this right here, that big lump. I'm gonna dry off my brush, set it down flat, barely pick it up, and then just kind of lightly shade it and scumble. So it's like, see how light I'm going down? Like super light, hazy. Once you get that stroke down, it's like drawing. So remember there are two, or well, we're all two still. But the shading, remember these pencil strokes, and you can like space out. And so instead of doing this, we're back here in the pencil. Now we're doing it like this. But it's the same thing. Once you get that, it's like you're almost on autopilot. Then you can go like, okay, I'm just like blending. Then it's been enough time. Little dot of blue, so I don't mix up puddles of blue like you might have done in R1. This is all just mixed up right on the canvas with layers of paint. All right, and I'll do a little more white, maybe a little dot of black. And then I have the magenta. You can like tone your colors down a little bit. And once again, actual speed is like this. So smaller strokes. And if you want it to blend more or lighter, set it down further, barely pick it up so there's hardly any weight on the brush, and then you'll be able to like feather it out. And it's even easier to blend. And then with the sky, just like we did in graphite, with the sky part, when you're blending that, if you find like a little patch you don't like, let's put a cloud on it. Okay, so that's one way to blend. That's a base coat. I'll show you another way now. This is using paper towels. I recommend starting with that technique. Then I can show you like there's so many different ways to paint. Unlike graphite, it's kind of crazy. So I'll start with white. I'll go a little blue in there. A little bit of the raw umber. Put that in there. Maybe a little more white. I'm getting that all spread out. Dot of black. And right now it's going to be a hot mess. So this is a different way of blending. And you can see what you like. So if you like more control, that way. If you're okay with a little bit more of a hot mess at first, I'll show you how to do that with the towel here in a second. This might be your guy. I'll go a little more blue, taking that, so it's a little bit more of a mess. But right now, you can see the thickness of the paint, so it's kind of thick. That allows it to not dry as fast. The thinner you work with acrylics, the faster it's going to dry. Go a little more of the raw umber. Put that in there. It's kind of green and disgusting. Then it kind of looks normal here in a second. A little bit of black. Go over there. And I'll do a bad job blending on this on purpose. So, whee! Yippee-ki-yay, mother what? All right, so this is like clown school over here. Like this one, it's like, yeah, but I'm watching out for my brush strokes, so I'm not doing that. I'm still doing scumbling, but just working a little faster. And I need a little more pure white down here in the bottom. Scrub that in. A little more of the blue. Put that up here. Dot of black. Put that in the blue. And then more white and blue down here. So you've got a storm cloud. Where's my blue? All right, so now I'm coming all the way up to the top. Stevens, that looks terrible. Quiet, I'm not done yet. All right, so now I'm getting this all blended out pretty well. Okay, a little bit of a hot mess. Looks like abstract painting. All right, so now I take this. This is that towel I was telling you about. It's wrung out, it's kind of soft. I put that on there kind of lightly, and then I'm gonna just barely take it and blend it kind of in a star pattern. Doing like a nice, gentle little star pattern, just like barely doing it. You don't want to do circles. You don't want to press hard. I'm just kind of like moving it. Barely though. Then now as it gets up, and see the blends are happening. So as I get up a little bit higher, I have a lot of light pigment on a towel. And so what I could do is get another towel for the darker values, or I'll just flip this over. All right, so now it's going to be for my darker parts of the sky. Now I'll come in here, same process, blend that out, little star patterns, small itty bitty little guys. And then the paint's wet enough where I'll be able to blend this out pretty easily. And this is a little bit harder than the others. The other technique is slower, however, it's safer. This can turn into a hot mess if you're not careful. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the light side right here, flip that over, and then blend this back in again. And really, you should have like a couple different paper towels. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe I will. All right, so I'm getting all the blends in there. So that is the paper towel blend. Now I'll get another one. Another paper towel, about that long. Wad it up, dip it in the water, wring it out a little bit, and then take the towel, and you want it to be almost like no water on it. If you have water, it'll be harder to blend. I mean, if you have water, it's harder to blend. And I'm just gonna lightly dust this off. And this is like layer one. With skies, you wanna repeat this a couple of times, and then your sky will look better and better. So if you try to do one layer of sky, like this, it'll look okay, but not great. All right. Paper towel technique, or brush technique, and that's all I'm showing you today. And that's the end of the cloud show.